I've been driving around the country, meeting, thanking, and interviewing these heroes in order to get a better appreciation for the hell that they had to endure day in and day out so that I and so many others could have a chance at life today.
The words of Rishi Sharma, an impressive young man on an important cross-country mission to interview surviving combat veterans of World War II. His travels brought him to Oregon this week, and he's looking for more of those combat veterans to interview. He's here in studio to share more about his passion for telling these stories. Rishi, welcome. You've been doing this for a couple of years now.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity to come and talk about the World War II heroes today. So ever since I graduated high school, I've been driving across the United States and Canada on a mission to meet and interview as many World War II combat heroes as possible. And so far I've interviewed just over 900 World War II combat veterans, and I've been to 47 of the states. And
wow, and of course Nina and I immediately asked Rishi, how do you pay for all this?
So I was very blessed that back in December 2016, CBS Sunday Morning did a story about my mission. And a lot of oral history organizations gave me grants to the nonprofit I run, Heroes of the Second World War. And so the grant goes to the board of the directors on the nonprofit, and I get a stipend for food and travel to be able to meet my heroes every day and get them.
You've been home in 2 years, I think you said.
Yes, ma'am. I've not been home in 2 years, but I get to meet my heroes.
So as you talk to these folks, what is the ultimate goal? You get them on tape. You said you kind of put their interview on a DVD. You give a copy to them. What's kind of the grand picture of this? What do you want to accomplish?
So right now, my mission is to meet and interview at least 2 to 3 World War II combat veterans every single day until the last one passes away.
Wow.
All the interviews, they're filmed interviews. I'll meet the veteran, I film interview him, I put it on a DVD, I mail it to him for him and his family. That's really my biggest focus right now, just getting them on camera. You know, in 20 years from now, you know, I'll have all the time in the world to figure out what to do with all the footage, but it's just so important to get them on camera. Right. And I'm really trying to focus on creating a national movement with the nonprofit and getting other young people inspired to get off their butt and go into retirement homes and visit with these veterans, because, you know, you can go up to any World War II veteran and you can ask them anything about the past 100 years and you'll get a first-hand answer as a response.
A history lesson.
They're walking history books.
And I think of that service you're providing for the family, because that will be shared for generations to come within that particular family. Is there a common thread, Rishi, as you interview all these veterans? Are there similarities in what they're telling you?
So, you know, the focus of the interviews are on combat World War II veterans, and, you know, it's just astounding to me that at 17, 18, 19 years old, these young men, these boys were put in positions where they had to see their best friends getting killed next to them, and they had to kill people just to survive another day, right? And that mentality that they got of service and sacrifice at such a young age, it carried, they carry it with them throughout the rest of their lives. And it's always, what I like to say about the World War II generation, what I've noticed in all of the veterans that I've met, personally, is that it's always about other people. Every single day of their lives has been about helping other people, whether it's in the Great Depression when they quit school to help put food on the table for the family, during the attack on Pearl Harbor. So many American young men lied about their age or changed their birth certificates just to get into the service. They went overseas, they fought in the worst war in human history for 4 long years. Over 70 million people were killed worldwide, 410,000 of them being American soldiers and Marines. And they come home, they're told just to man up and move on. PTSD was not diagnosed, right? And they did. All they wanted to do was raise a family and get their old jobs back, and this is the same generation that put man on the moon.
But you're saying that they always had in the forefront of their mind serving others, even after they left war. I have to ask you real quickly before we let you go, where does your passion come from? Were you raised in a military family?
All I can tell you is ever since I was a little kid, my biggest heroes have been World War II combat veterans. Wow. If it wasn't for them...
Did you read a book? I mean, how did you start becoming fascinated with it?
Gosh, I mean, growing up, I would watch the History Channel, right? I would read books about World War II, and as I got older, I started reading, you know, memoirs, personal books of the soldiers who fought, and I started calling some of them up who I would find their numbers on the internet, you know, and I would just call them.
As a kid, wow.
Yeah, I was like 14,
and
15.
Here you are, and now you're 20?
Yeah.
20?
And
All
so,
right. So
if anyone knows any World War II combat veterans, please reach out.
Best way to reach you, your website?
Yes, the website of the nonprofit is www.heroes, H-E-R-O-E-S, of the Second World War.org. It's all spelled out.
All right, and
you're
we'll have a
talking to
link on our
someone today,
Facebook
right?
page as well. Yeah. Thanks so much, Rishi. A real pleasure to meet you. And I love what you said to your generation. I could say it and they'd shake their head, but when you say, get off your butt and go into these retirement homes and visit these veterans.
Yeah, the Kardashians aren't important. The old man down the street, you know, he's the important one.
Thank you.
There, I like it. I like it. All right, thank you so much, Rishi. You know, Rishi mentioning being in Oregon and interviewing some veterans. I know you had the opportunity yesterday out in Aurora at a special event which honored veterans and provided flights that took them way back. Tim Gordon takes us there.
And it did it with a couple of very cool planes. This Bowman steering biplane was a military trainer in the 40s, giving rides today. Not all veterans needed a flight. There was a big ceremony to honor them all on the tarmac. That would be enough for 95-year-old John Fellis. Are you going to go up in this DC-3?
No, I'm not going to go. I've been in too many of them already.
John served for nearly 5 years, fighting in the jungle. He flew to combat in the military version of this DC-3. Korean War vet Don Adams is aboard with a sense of humor and appreciation.
I'm looking forward to landing again, and we haven't taken off yet. But no, I love it because I'm sitting next to a gentleman who's a distinguished hero.
For his flight mate, it brings back memories.
I used to be a flight engineer on the military version of this airplane.
What a great thing to be back on one, huh?
Yeah, it is.
A celebration of flight and service in and around the airport.
I feel good. I never did have any grudge against my military service. It was tough, but I wouldn't do it. I'd do it again if I had to.
Nice to hear him say, do it again. Well, several organizations kind of collaborated to make that happen, including the Vital Life Foundation, because they wanted to make sure, you know, the veterans in assisted living facilities, as Rishi was talking about, were able to make it there.
Yeah, tell their stories. We'll be right back.